Hi and welcome to today's episode of Game Creation. So this fortnight has all been about responsiveness and making sure our game fits on all types of screens. So today we're going to be looking at populating our sort of menu bar at the top, which shows our lives and stuff like that. And so it's actually going to be quite easy given the work we did yesterday. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, make sure you go back and watch that. Otherwise, let's get started. So you can see yesterday what we've done is we've made sure that this bar at the top kind of stays there no matter where we scroll. So what we want to do now is populate it with stuff, right? So we're going to go to our layer panel and just click on here. And you can see that the bar is at the top. And what we can do is, actually we can't stretch this out because this needs to be the width it is because it's 100 width and we're scaling it. But what I want to do is make sure that the background is black because we're going to have some white elements there. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. I could do the background black there, but if you look, that will change the background color for all of the stuff, and that might get quite irritating. So this is going to be our first hurdle we're going to have to overcome. What I might do is I might create a new active, and I might make that active just not appear at start, right? So this is going to be a kind of for our use only kind of object, right? And so where's the position? So the position is going to be, well, we're going to have to change the hotspot first, so it's at the top left to give me a fighting chance with it. And so the position is going to be at 0, 0. And the width is 640. Oh, got the width perfect. And what we do is we just say don't create it at start, right? So don't create it at start. So this is really only here for us. And if you see, well, you're not going to see because it's covered by black anyway, but it's not actually created anywhere. Okay, so we want to have our score, our amount of lives or whatever. And you can see this is all in black, but if you double click it, you can go through these manually and change it to white. Okay, so you could go through each of these and change them to white. I don't like doing that. I just prefer, something else you can do is you can lock things in place, which might actually be useful for this. So I'm just going to lock this so that I don't accidentally drag it. You can then unlock it. I can't remember what it is. How do you do it? Do you double click here? There's a way that you can unlock it. There's something to do. So when you click here, I think you can unlock it in here somewhere. Don't know how to unlock it. Is that bad that I know how to lock something but I don't know how to unlock it? There you go. Oh, I think you click on the blue thing. Yeah, you do. No. So that selects it. I know that much. There you go. Well, if you know how to unlock an item, I think it's something like this, and there's some way of getting the menu bar open. But I don't remember how to do it. But anyway, that's locked. Okay, so what I want to do is, instead of using the counter, what you can use is just the string. The string object, what it lets you do is pick any font you want, right? And you can change the background color just by clicking this, right? So I think once you realize how good the string object is, the counter object seems a bit like underpowered, right? The only thing with the string object is it can look a bit pixelated sometimes if you're not careful about which font you're using. And I don't really like the default font. I always like a good Sego UI. I don't know whether I have Sego UI on here. Sego print, good old Sego UI. You probably want a bolder one than Sego UI, but that's fine. And so what we can have is we can have the name of the game here, right? So Slim Finder. Don't know. Is that the name of the game? I don't know. And then what we want is the score. So we're going to clone that. Careful not to duplicate. Duplicate will give you exactly the same thing. Oh yeah, it's down here. Okay, now one of the issues is we want to make sure that this is always on the right. So what we can do, so if it's like, if the score's like, I don't know, 3, right? You can see the 3's over here. Okay, so you might think, oh, let's just drag this over here. But the problem is, if they then get the score 33, the 3 will go off the screen, right? So you don't want to do that. I'm going to press Control Z. What you want to do is you want to right align this, right? So a horizontal, you want it on the right. So it's always snug against there. Now if I change the score to 33, it sort of pushes it on over to the left, right? So that's much better. There we are, some basic stuff. Now if I run it now, you can see that that absolutely disappears. Now why does that disappear? It disappears because we're using an active, right? And an active will always be at the front. That's what we've said here. I think, can you move? I think you can move a string above an active. I'm hoping so. Okay. So here we've got our top menu, and it says bring to front. So that moves it ahead of the strings. So what I want to do is I want to bring those to front afterwards. Okay. Now, some of you won't be able to access this menu that I'm about to do, the event, whatever it's called, editor. What's it called? Event list editor. But if you double click on this, you can see that we're going to first of all bring the black one, the black background to front. Then we're going to do the fonts. The order matters here, okay, which is why this view is really useful. So you can see exactly which order. If you're not sure and you can't see the event list editor, then just delete all of them and then start again and just literally do the ones you want at the back and then at the front. If you imagine back in the old days of cartoons, right? So what they used to do is have the background, and then they used to have like acetate, like plastic, and they used to paint the character on the plastic, right? And then put that on top. And then they used to paint the moustache on the character on top, right? And they used to layer it and layer it and layer it. And Clickteam works the same way, right? So whatever you put to the front first is at the back, right? And then everything you put to the front after that will layer on top of it, okay? So if I run it now, perfect. Okay. Now notice also there are some things, and I don't know whether this is still the case, but there have been in the past some things that just can't go on top of other things. So there's some background objects that can't go on top of actives, although that might have changed. So we'll see. Okay, one of the problems, Slim Finder is perfect position, and no matter where I am, Slim Finder is in absolutely where I want it to be. But this score isn't, okay? We want this score to be on the right hand side. And so we're just going to have to do a bit of maths, okay? So we're always, for the responsiveness, we're always doing this. But we also want to always put the string, in fact, I shouldn't really call it a string 2, it should be the score. Right, so I'll rename it to the score. And this one can just be the logo. And we'd probably change that out for a nice logo or something if we were releasing this game. Okay, so we want the score position. Now we don't need to set the Y position because the Y position won't change, right? Because that bar will always be at the top. But we do want to set the X coordinate. And we want the X coordinate to be, and we've got to do some maths here. We want it to be the width of the frame, right, minus, and we want some padding to the side, so maybe 10 pixels padding, and then minus the width of the actual string, right, because the hotspot for the string is at the top left. Okay, so we're going to get that position, and we're just going to get the width of it. Now I want to make sure that it looks consistent. So I'm going to make sure that the X of this is 10 as well. So there's a 10 to there, and we'll have the Y to be the same. So minus 9 there, and we want minus 9, which it is. Okay, if I run it now, you can see that that's nice and snug in the corner with those 10 pixels at the side, so it's not too flush against the side. Now, as the player gets more score, right? So let's do 333. Oh, loads of score, right? You can see that it pushes off from that side. Because we've got it right aligned, it pushes away from that side. And that's kind of going to do it for today. So you can see that actually, no matter what screen they have, it will naturally have the logo at the top left, or top left, whichever way it is, and the score at the top right. And they will fit snugly in those positions. Now, what we also want to make sure is if they've got a really small screen, that we do something different. So there's going to be a point at which there's not going to be enough room for both of them, and they'll start overlapping, right? So the score will overlap with the actual logo of the thing, and that's going to be a problem. So what we might need to do on those situations is just get rid of the score. And maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. But thank you very much for watching. Keep your comments coming in, and if you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from us, click subscribe. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'll see you again tomorrow.